Electric vehicles promise a cleaner, smarter future, but not every EV lives up to the hype. For some owners, their dream car turned into a nightmare of frustrating glitches, disappointing range, sky-high repair bills, or poor resale value. And while the EV industry keeps growing, real-world experiences often tell a very different story. From budget-friendly compacts that leave drivers stranded to luxury models with problems as expensive as their price tags, these EVs have earned the harshest reviews from the people who matter most, the owners. Today, we're counting down 14 electric vehicles that are flat-out hated by the very people who bought them. Number 14. Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf holds an important place in EV history. It was one of the first affordable mass-market electric cars, introduced in 2010. For early adopters, it was a bold step into the future. But over time, the Leaf has become one of the most criticized EVs on the road, with many owners expressing disappointment. The biggest issue? Range. Even newer models struggle to keep up with modern standards. While competitors are offering 250 to 300 miles on a single charge, many Leafs barely push past 150. For U.S. drivers, especially those over 40 who need a reliable commuter or road trip vehicle, that short range makes the Leaf impractical. Range anxiety isn't supposed to be worse with newer cars, but for Leaf owners, it often is. Another major complaint is battery degradation. Unlike many rivals, older Leafs used air-cooled batteries, which are more vulnerable to heat and charging stress. Owners in warmer states like Arizona and Texas often report their range dropping significantly within just a few years. Replacing the battery is expensive, sometimes costing more than the value of the car itself, which leads to the Leaf's notoriously low resale value. And then there's the tech. The Leaf lacks the advanced features, fast charging, and modern infotainment systems found in most new EVs. For a vehicle that was once ahead of its time, it now feels outdated. That's why the Nissan Leaf kicks off our list. It's a pioneer, yes, but one that many owners now regret buying. Number 13. Chevy Bolt EV. The Chevy Bolt EV was supposed to be General Motors' answer to Tesla. A small, affordable electric hatchback with enough range to convince everyday drivers to make the switch. On paper, it looked like a winner. In reality, however, the Bolt EV quickly became one of the most controversial electric cars in America, and many owners have grown to despise it. The biggest reason? Battery fires. GM had to issue one of the most significant EV recalls in history, covering every Bolt ever built. Owners were warned not to park their cars inside garages, not to charge them overnight, and even not to let the battery drop too low. For a vehicle meant to represent the future of safe, clean driving, that kind of fear shattered trust. Even after battery replacements, Bolt owners have complained about long waits for service and a lack of clear communication from dealerships. For older drivers, reliability and peace of mind matter more than anything, and the Bolt has failed badly in both areas. Range, while decent for its class, around 259 miles, has also been a disappointment for real-world users. Fast charging speeds lag behind competitors, making road trips frustrating. And then there's resale value. Thanks to its reputation, Bolts often sell for far less than other EVs, leaving owners stuck with a car they can't easily unload. The Bolt EV might have been designed as an affordable way to go electric, but for many buyers, it turned into a stressful ownership experience. That's why it sits firmly at number 13 on this list of EVs hated by their owners. Number 12. Tesla Model S. The Tesla Model S changed the auto industry when it launched in 2012. It proved EVs could be fast, luxurious, and practical, boasting groundbreaking range and technology. But as the years went on, many owners discovered the reality of living with a Model S was far less glamorous than the marketing. And that's why so many have grown to hate it. One of the most common complaints is build quality. Owners report rattles, misaligned panels, failing door handles, and cheap interior materials in a car that costs as much as a luxury sedan. For drivers spending $80,000 or more, that lack of refinement feels insulting. Another frustration is repair costs. Unlike traditional luxury cars, Tesla has no widespread service network. If something major breaks, like the suspension or battery, the bill can be astronomical. Owners have shared stories of $15,000 repair quotes for relatively simple issues, with long waits for parts and service appointments. Technology, while advanced, is also a double-edged sword. Frequent software updates sometimes bring new bugs, and features like autopilot have been criticized for being oversold. For drivers who expected smooth, flawless tech, the experience can feel like beta testing a car they already paid a premium for. Resale value has also taken a hit. With newer Teslas offering better range and tech at lower prices, older Model S owners find themselves stuck with cars worth far less than expected. In short, the Model S will always be remembered as a pioneer, but many of its owners remember it as a frustrating, overpriced experiment, not the perfect luxury EV they were promised. That's why it lands at number 12 on this list. Number 11. Tesla Model X. The Tesla Model X was supposed to be the ultimate electric family SUV, sleek, futuristic, and loaded with features no other automaker dared to try. And while it certainly turned heads with its design, many owners have found that living with a Model X can be more frustrating than fun. The biggest culprit? The Falcon Wing doors. These dramatic, upward-swinging rear doors look like something from a sci-fi movie, but in practice, they've been a nightmare. Owners report sensors failing, doors refusing to open in tight spaces, or getting stuck mid-operation. What was meant to be a wow factor often becomes a daily headache. Beyond the doors, reliability issues plague the Model X. Complaints range from failing air suspensions to touchscreen malfunctions, all of which are costly to repair. For a vehicle starting above $90,000, owners expect durability that matches its price, but too often they get endless service appointments instead. Another frustration is service availability. Tesla's limited repair network means many Model X owners wait weeks or even months for fixes. For families who rely on their SUV, that's unacceptable. Add in high insurance premiums and repair costs, and ownership quickly becomes stressful. Even though the Model X offers jaw-dropping performance, some versions can hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. Many drivers feel the trade-offs in reliability, usability, and cost outweigh the thrill. That's why the Model X lands at number 11. It's futuristic and flashy, but for many owners, it's also the most frustrating Tesla to actually live with. Number 10. Tesla Cybertruck. Few EVs have sparked as much debate as the Tesla Cybertruck. Its bold, stainless steel design makes it look more like a sci-fi prop than a pickup truck. And while some buyers love the futuristic look, many owners already have a long list of complaints. First, there's the polarizing design. The sharp angles and massive proportions may turn heads, but they also create real-world problems, visibility challenges, tight parking struggles, and awkward aerodynamics that some drivers feel compromise practicality. Early owners have also flagged fit and finish issues. From panel gaps to inconsistent paintwork, the Cybertruck carries the same Tesla quality control reputation that frustrates many of its customers. For a vehicle hyped as the truck of the future, these flaws feel like a step backward. Performance is undeniably strong. The dual and tri-motor setups deliver blistering acceleration and impressive towing capacity. But critics point out that range often falls short when towing heavy loads, undermining its value as a true work truck. Add to that the truck's enormous weight, making it less efficient than many competitors, and some buyers are questioning whether it's really practical for everyday use. Another complaint is hype versus reality. Features promised during its reveal, like bulletproof glass and ultra-low pricing, haven't fully materialized, leaving early adopters feeling misled. The Cybertruck isn't just a vehicle, it's a statement. But for many of its owners, that statement comes with compromises, frustrations, and buyer's remorse. That's why it finds itself on this list. Number 9. Ford Mustang Mach-E. The Ford Mustang Mach-E was one of the most anticipated EVs when it debuted in 2020. Ford branded it with the legendary Mustang name, promising performance, style, and a clear alternative to Tesla's Model Y. But for many owners, reality hasn't lived up to the hype. One of the biggest frustrations has been software glitches. Owners report infotainment screens freezing, navigation failing mid-drive, and updates that create new problems instead of fixing old ones. For a car marketed as high-tech, reliability in the digital features has been underwhelming. Charging is another sore spot. While the Mach-E supports fast charging, Ford's reliance on third-party networks has caused headaches for drivers. Complaints about slow charging speeds, broken stations, and inconsistent charging curves leave many owners frustrated, especially when Tesla drivers enjoy the seamless supercharger experience. Build quality has also been hit or miss. Some owners have noted panel misalignments, water leaks, and rattles inside the cabin. While not universal, these issues erode confidence in a car meant to carry the Mustang badge. Then there's the branding backlash. For die-hard Mustang fans, slapping the iconic pony badge on an electric crossover feels like sacrilege. That controversy has followed the Mach-E since launch, with some buyers regretting the purchase because the car doesn't feel like a real Mustang. In short, the Mach-E has potential. It's stylish, quick, and practical. But between software headaches, charging struggles, and unmet expectations, it's earned a reputation among some owners as more frustrating than fun. Number 8. Volkswagen ID.4. The Volkswagen ID.4 was supposed to be VW's breakout EV in the US market, a practical, affordable electric SUV designed to bring mainstream buyers into the fold. While it has sold reasonably well, many owners have been left disappointed, and their frustrations put the ID.4 squarely on this list. The number 1 complaint? Software. VW promised cutting-edge infotainment and digital features, but in practice, the system has been buggy, slow, and unintuitive. Owners report delays in touchscreen response, awkward menu navigation, and over-the-air updates that often fail to fix problems. For older buyers who prefer straightforward usability, the ID.4's tech can feel needlessly complicated. Charging is another sore point. While the ID.4 supports DC fast charging, it lags behind competitors in speed, leaving road trippers waiting longer at stations. Inconsistent charging performance has been a common gripe, especially compared to rivals like Hyundai, Kia, or Tesla. Owners also complain about underwhelming performance. The ID.4 isn't sporty, and while that's fine for a family SUV, it feels sluggish compared to similarly priced EVs. Some have even reported issues with range estimates being overly optimistic, leading to range anxiety in real-world driving. Add to this VW's customer service struggles and a dealer network still adapting to EVs, and you have a recipe for frustration. For many, the ID.4 feels like a rushed attempt to compete in the EV market rather than a fully polished product. That's why the Volkswagen ID.4 lands at number 8, an EV with potential, but one that many owners regret choosing. Number 7. Mercedes EQB/EQS SUVs. Mercedes-Benz entered the EV race with high expectations. The EQB and EQS SUVs were marketed as luxury electric alternatives to the brand's gas-powered GL lineup. On the surface, they look like winners: premium cabins, cutting-edge tech, and the Mercedes badge. But dig deeper, and many owners have voiced serious frustrations. The biggest complaint centers on range versus price. For vehicles costing $60,000 to over $100,000, many buyers expected 300-plus miles of driving on a charge. Instead, the EQB struggles to reach around 250 miles, and even the larger EQ SUV often underdelivers in real-world driving. Owners feel shortchanged compared to cheaper EVs that offer better range. Then there's charging performance. While Mercedes supports DC fast charging, it doesn't match the speed of rivals like Hyundai's eGMP models or Tesla's supercharger network. For long-distance drivers, this means more downtime on road trips, a frustrating flaw in a luxury EV. Technology, ironically, has also been a sore spot. The massive hyperscreen looks impressive, but can feel overwhelming, and some owners complain it's distracting rather than helpful. Software glitches and unintuitive menus add to the annoyance. Finally, reliability concerns have started surfacing. Expensive maintenance, unexpected faults, and a lack of widespread EV expertise in dealerships leave many Mercedes EV owners questioning whether the premium price is worth it. That's why the EQB and EQS SUVs land at number 7. They promise luxury and innovation, but too often leave owners frustrated with range limitations, charging compromises, and tech that doesn't live up to the hype. Number 6. Audi e-tron, Q8 e-tron. When Audi launched the e-tron SUV in 2019, it was hailed as the brand's electric flagship, a luxury crossover meant to show that EVs could carry the same prestige as Audi's gas-powered lineup. Rebranded in 2023 as the Q8 e-tron, it remains Audi's primary EV SUV. But despite its sleek design and upscale cabin, many owners have been left unimpressed. The most common frustration is efficiency. For a vehicle in its price range, often $70,000 and up, the Q8 e-tron delivers just 220 to 285 miles of range, depending on the battery. In real-world conditions, that number can be even lower, especially in cold weather. Compared to similarly priced EVs from Tesla, Hyundai, and BMW, the Audi feels outdated and inefficient. Another sore point is weight. The Q8 e-tron is heavy, and owners notice it. Acceleration is respectable, but it lacks the thrilling punch many expect from an EV. The added weight also contributes to reduced efficiency, meaning drivers are charging more often than they'd like. Charging speeds, while decent, are not groundbreaking. Rivals offer faster 800-volt architectures, while the Audi sticks with older tech. For long-distance drivers, this creates frustration during road trips. Even Audi's luxury strengths haven't fully saved the e-tron. While the interior is plush, reliability complaints and expensive maintenance costs have left owners feeling the premium badge isn't justified. That's why the Audi Q8 e-tron lands at number 6. It's stylish and comfortable, but in the EV world, it lags behind in efficiency, range, and overall value, leaving many buyers with regret. Number 5. BMW iX. The BMW iX was launched as the brand's bold electric SUV flagship, packed with futuristic design, luxury features, and cutting-edge technology. On paper, it checks all the boxes: over 300 miles of range, lightning-fast charging, and a plush interior. But in reality, the iX has been one of BMW's most divisive vehicles, with many owners finding themselves frustrated. The first issue? Design. While some appreciate its bold, futuristic look, many owners, and even die-hard BMW fans, complain about its oversized grille and unconventional styling. For buyers expecting the elegance of a traditional BMW SUV, the iX feels alien, even awkward. Then there's technology overload. BMW crammed the iX with digital features, including a massive curved display, touch-sensitive controls, and advanced driver assistance. But many owners complain it's overly complex and unintuitive, with basic functions buried behind multiple menus. For older drivers, especially those used to BMW's straightforward past models, this tech-heavy approach is frustrating. Another complaint is price versus value. With many trims easily exceeding $90,000, owners expect perfection. Instead, they often report software glitches, quirky driver assist behavior, and expensive maintenance. Even though the range and charging speeds are competitive, the ownership experience feels less seamless than rivals like Tesla or Mercedes. The iX isn't a bad EV. It's powerful, spacious, and loaded with features. But it's also one of those cars where luxury turns into complexity, and that complexity can drive owners crazy. That's why it lands at number 5, an ambitious EV that many wish was simpler and more refined. Number 4. Lucid Air. The Lucid Air was billed as a Tesla killer, a luxury sedan with stunning looks, jaw-dropping range, and futuristic technology. On paper it delivers, boasting up to 516 miles of range on certain trims, blistering acceleration, and one of the most beautiful interiors in the EV market. But despite its promise, many owners have found the Lucid Air frustrating to live with. The biggest complaint is reliability. Early production models have been plagued by software bugs, electrical glitches, and unexpected breakdowns. Owners have reported issues with door handles not working, infotainment freezing, and even cars refusing to start. For a car that costs well over $80,000, these problems leave a sour taste. Then there's the issue of service availability. Lucid is still a young company, and its service network is extremely limited. For many owners, getting repairs means waiting weeks for parts or traveling long distances to reach the nearest service center. Compared to established brands, that lack of infrastructure is a huge drawback. Some owners also complain about fit and finish inconsistencies. While the Air's design is stunning, misaligned panels, squeaks, and rattles have been reported. Hardly acceptable in a car competing with Mercedes and BMW. And while Lucid's range numbers are incredible, real-world performance often falls short of expectations, especially in colder climates or at highway speeds. The Lucid Air is ambitious and groundbreaking, but for many owners, it feels like they paid to be beta testers for an unfinished product. That's why it lands at number 4. Loved on paper, but often hated in practice. Number 3. Rivian R1T. The Rivian R1T made headlines as the first electric pickup truck to reach customers, beating Ford and Tesla to market. Sleek, adventurous, and loaded with clever features like the gear tunnel and camp kitchen, it looked like the perfect truck for outdoor enthusiasts. But while the concept won fans, many owners have since voiced frustrations that put the R1T high on this list. One of the biggest complaints is software reliability. Owners frequently report glitches with the infotainment system, buggy driver assist features, and even problems with over-the-air updates. For a truck marketed as high-tech, these issues make it feel unfinished. Another sore spot is service availability. Rivian is still a young company, and its service centers are limited. Many owners have to wait weeks for appointments or drive hundreds of miles to reach a repair facility. For a vehicle designed to go off the beaten path, the lack of widespread support can be a deal-breaker. Production delays and parts shortages have also frustrated early adopters. Delivery timelines have been unpredictable, and replacement parts can take far too long to arrive. That makes small problems much bigger headaches. Even with these issues, the R1T remains impressive in performance. Over 800 horsepower, quad-motor all-wheel drive, and up to 350 miles of range. But the ownership experience hasn't matched the promise. That's why the Rivian R1T lands at number 3. It's innovative and exciting, but for many owners, the frustrations of early ownership outweigh the thrill of driving the first electric pickup. Number 2. GMC Hummer EV. The GMC Hummer EV is one of the most extreme electric vehicles on the market. With over 1,000 horsepower, wild off-road features like crab walk, and a design that screams toughness, it feels like the ultimate toy for enthusiasts. But once the excitement wears off, many owners find themselves frustrated by its real-world downsides. The biggest issue is its sheer size and weight. At over 9,000 pounds, the Hummer EV is a monster. That bulk hurts efficiency, given it just around 329 miles of range on a massive 200-plus kilowatt-hour battery pack. Compared to other EVs, it guzzles electricity, making charging stops longer and more frequent on road trips. Another complaint is practicality. Despite being marketed as a truck, the Hummer EV's bed is relatively small, and towing significantly reduces its already limited efficiency. Owners expecting it to replace a traditional work truck often feel let down. Charging speed is decent, but the sheer size of the battery means it still takes longer to fill compared to smaller EVs. Add in limited public charging infrastructure for oversized vehicles, and owners often find it inconvenient. And then there's the price. With many models exceeding $100,000, expectations are sky-high. Owners report that the interior, while nice, doesn't feel premium enough to justify the cost. Combined with GM's growing pains in EV service, frustration builds quickly. The Hummer EV may be flashy and fun, but for many owners, it feels more like an impractical gimmick than a usable daily driver. That's why it lands at number 2. Number 1. Tesla Model Y. The Tesla Model Y is the best-selling EV in the world. and one of Tesla's biggest success stories. But despite its popularity, it's also one of the most complained about electric cars on the market. Owners love the range, performance, and supercharger access, but many also admit the Model Y drives them crazy. The most common complaint is build quality. Reports of panel gaps, rattling interiors, peeling paint, and inconsistent assembly quality are widespread. For buyers spending $50,000 or more, those issues feel unacceptable. Some owners even take delivery of new cars with noticeable cosmetic flaws. Another frustration is customer service. Tesla's direct sales model means no traditional dealer network, which can be good for convenience. But when something goes wrong, owners often face long waits for appointments, poor communication, and expensive out-of-warranty repairs. That lack of consistent support leaves many buyers feeling abandoned. Technology, while advanced, also sparks complaints. Software updates sometimes remove features or introduce glitches. Autopilot and full self-driving, while heavily marketed, are often criticized for not living up to expectations, leaving some owners feeling misled. Finally, ride comfort is another issue. The Model Y's suspension is stiff, and on rough American roads, many drivers, especially older ones, find it harsher than they'd like. Despite these frustrations, the Model Y continues to sell in massive numbers thanks to its range, performance, and charging convenience. But popularity doesn't erase problems, and for many owners, the headaches overshadow the hype. That's why the Tesla Model Y takes the #1 spot on this list of EVs most hated by their owners. Electric vehicles promise a brighter, cleaner future, but as we've seen, not every EV delivers on its promises. From luxury models plagued with glitches to everyday cars with frustrating flaws, these 14 vehicles have left their owners disappointed and sometimes downright angry. The lesson? Not all EVs are created equal, and hype doesn't always match reality. Before making the switch, it's worth looking beyond the marketing to hear what real owners have to say. Now we want to hear from you. Would you buy one of these EVs or avoid them entirely? Let us know in the comments below.